why is nothing working to fix your sleep? Well, I have the answers, and I'm really excited for you because once you finally understand how this works, your sleep can start to improve very quickly. I struggled with insomnia since I was a little kid, and I dealt with it for 16 years, and I felt like I had tried everything. And I know how frustrating it is to feel like your body is broken and that like nothing is ever going to work for you. So in this video, I'm going to walk you through the 3-step blueprint to actually fix your sleep for good, completely naturally. Because once you understand how this works, your sleep can shift quite literally overnight. Because here's the truth, you're not broken. You have not lost the ability to sleep. What's happened is your brain has just learned an unhelpful pattern. And once you understand how that pattern works and how to shift it, everything will change. So step 1 is huge, and this is to realize that insomnia isn't actually a sleep problem. This is the biggest mistake that I see people make. And honestly, this is the mistake that I made for years, and it is what kept me trapped with insomnia for far too long. We assume that insomnia begins when we get into bed and can't fall asleep. So then we end up looking for solutions that attempt to fix that nighttime falling asleep issue. So we get sucked into this cycle of trying one sleep product after the next. And this is exactly why most popular insomnia treatments don't work long term. Let's take sleep hygiene, for example. All the really basic sleep advice that you would hear, that you would find on a Google search or from your doctor, like don't look at screens in the evening, don't drink caffeine afternoon, make sure your bedroom is dark and cool, la-di-da-di-da. All of that is genuinely good advice. But for most people, it's just not enough because it doesn't take your mind into account. All those things are treating the symptom of not sleeping and not actually the root cause of why your body is going into this alert state at night. Then the other approach that most people go after is all the sleeping pills and the sleep supplements. The problem with those is pretty much the same thing. They are trying to force your body to sleep when sleep itself isn't actually the real issue. And a lot of my clients who came to me after trying sleeping pills, many of them found that their body built up a tolerance to it over time, and the pills actually ended up not even working after a while, or they hated the side effects, and the side effects of the pills were worse than sleep deprivation. So it's a completely lose-lose situation. And then you're back at square one, feeling even more hopeless and discouraged than when you started. And then there's these certain cognitive behavioral therapy for insomnia, CBTI, protocols, which requires things like sleep restriction, tracking how many hours you slept or didn't sleep, and making you get out of bed if you didn't fall asleep within 20 minutes, among other things. And that approach works for some people, but I've had so many clients come to me after trying CBTI who said that it just made them stress out about their sleep even more. And more stress is the last thing that you need if you want to improve your sleep. And the other really sneaky problem with trying all of these things is that when they don't work, you start to feel like you are broken, like you've somehow lost the ability to sleep. And then that belief becomes a self-fulfilling prophecy because now you're anxious about your sleep, which keeps your body on high alert. And that makes it impossible to sleep because you're in this fight or flight response. So this introduces this aspect of identity that I talk about in a lot of my other videos, which is as soon as you start to identify as someone who can't sleep, what result do you think you're going to get? Your brain is just going to perpetuate the identity of how you see yourself. And you've probably already experienced this, how it becomes just this tangled mess that keeps getting worse. But here's what I want you to hear right now. You're definitely not broken, and you definitely have not lost the ability to sleep. We are all born with the natural ability to sleep, and that never goes away. What's happened is your brain just got pulled away from that natural state, and it learned an unhelpful pattern. And the good news is we can actually shift it back to your natural state. And so that's exactly what these next 2 steps are about. So step 2 is to understand why your brain is keeping you awake. So if insomnia isn't actually a sleep problem, then what is it? Here's what's really going on. Your brain is interpreting nighttime as a time to be awake and alert. So it keeps your thoughts racing, it floods your body with adrenaline and cortisol, and it puts you on high alert, like there's something that you need to be prepared for. So your brain is literally keeping you awake on purpose. And here's why this can get frustrating. This is a pattern that currently is living in the subconscious part of your mind. And your subconscious doesn't respond to logic. It doesn't respond to willpower. It actually runs entirely on habit and programming. And right now it's just been programmed to keep you awake at night. So that is why all of the tips and the tricks, they only work temporarily at best, because it's in this habitual pattern of keeping you awake, and it thinks that that is good for you. So why did your brain learn this pattern in the first place? Well, at some point in your life, staying awake at night actually made sense. There was probably a period where staying alert was genuinely the smart thing to do. Maybe you were going through a stressful time in your life. Maybe there was chaos or uncertainty. Maybe something happened that made it genuinely unsafe to peacefully fall asleep. For me personally, I grew up in a very dysfunctional household where nighttime was chaotic. There was always something going on. And for me, staying alert was actually a logical response. Falling asleep would have been the dumb thing to do in that situation. So my brain did exactly what it was supposed to do. It kept me awake to keep me safe. And this looks different for everybody. For some people, it stems from a chaotic or stressful period in their life where staying alert at night made sense. For others, it's not about the past at all. It's about tomorrow. It's about your brain trying to help you by keeping you awake to prepare, to plan, to be ready for whatever is happening the next day, like a big meeting, maybe you're traveling, have an early morning flight, an important event going on. Your brain thinks it's doing you a favor. And in both of those cases, it's the exact same protective mechanism that's being triggered. Your brain is keeping you alert because it genuinely believes that that's what you need. So your brain's not broken. Your brain is actually incredibly smart, and it is doing exactly what it learned to do. It is protecting you. It is keeping you safe, or it is keeping you prepared based on the information that it was given at some point in your life. So that is why the sleeping pills and the sleep supplements and the sleep hygiene, they don't really do much, because your brain is so much more powerful than all of that. So the situation is, your brain got so good at this pattern that it just kept running it long after it was actually necessary. It became automated. So now it's been this default autopilot mode. So even though you're safe now, even though tomorrow is just a normal day and nothing as bad is happening in your life, your brain is still running that old program out of pure habit. And I had absolutely zero awareness of this, which is why it took me so long to get rid of my insomnia. But once I understood this, I was able to start working with my brain instead of against it. And that's how it's been about 8 years now, and I've been completely insomnia-free. So just having this awareness, just understanding that this is what is happening, this is what is going on, is honestly such a powerful shift. Because suddenly it's not random. It's not a mystery. It makes sense. It makes complete sense why your brain is doing this, and you can stop fighting it and start working with it instead. Now the question becomes, how do you actually take your brain off autopilot? How do you update the programming? And that's what step 3 is about. Step 3 is to reprogram your subconscious mind. So this is the actual fix to sleep great long-term. And I know reprogram your subconscious might sound a little out there, but stay with me, because this is exactly what I did to overcome 16 years of insomnia, and I've helped thousands of people do this around the world. Here's what I mean by reprogramming. Your subconscious mind learns through repetition, heightened emotional states, and life experience, not through conscious logic. So to change the pattern, you have to communicate with your subconscious in a language that it actually understands. And here's something that's really fascinating. Your subconscious mind is most receptive when you're in the alpha brainwave state. That is the calm, relaxed, drowsy state right before you fall asleep and right when you wake up in the morning. So in both of those windows, your subconscious is literally open and receptive to new information. Think of it like a door that's finally unlocked and you can communicate with it very, very easily, which means the way that you think and what you tell yourself as you're drifting off to sleep at night and the first thoughts that you have in the morning when you wake up are incredibly powerful and way more important than most people realize. So here are some ways that you can start working with your subconscious right now. The first one is journaling. So when you sit down and you write with your hand, not typing on your phone, but you write with your hand, your brainwaves naturally slow down into the alpha state. So journaling right before bed or in the morning is a very powerful way to start rewriting the default thought patterns in your mind. You can use this to rewrite the patterns that your brain is believing about sleep, about how your day is going to go, about stress, about anxiety. You can use this time to get quiet and tap into your intuition and let the truth come out before the survival mind kicks in. For example, instead of saying, I never sleep well, or my brain just goes a zillion miles an hour and never shuts off, you can start replacing those beliefs with new ones. And you're literally writing, like physically writing the new program for your subconscious mind. Another technique is meditating, and I suggest doing this in the morning or the afternoon, earlier in the day, because when you meditate at night, for some people in the beginning, there's this pressure attached to it, like you're meditating to fall asleep and then you freak out about the sleep part. So that's why I find it way more effective to do this during the day instead, when there's zero pressure to sleep attached to it. And meditation also gets you into that alpha brainwave state. So you're literally practicing tapping into that gateway to fall asleep. And then the third technique that I really love is to understand that the subconscious mind does not understand negation. So the word no, not, don't, the subconscious mind doesn't register what that even means. It only pays attention to the main subject of the thought that you're thinking or the words that you're speaking. So when you lie in bed at night thinking, I don't want to be awake all night again, your subconscious only hears, be awake all night again. And when you think, I can't sleep, it hears, can't sleep. And it goes, okay, got it. We can't sleep. So we're not going to sleep. It's just running the programming that you keep giving it. So if I say to you, don't think of a blue squirrel, what are you going to do? You're going to think of a blue squirrel. So you have to start being really intentional about the language that you use with yourself all day long about everything. So you got to kind of catch yourself when you're doing this and say the opposite. Say what you do want to happen. So instead of, I don't want to lie awake all night, frustrated, instead start reinforcing, my body knows how to sleep. My body knows how to sleep peacefully. My body knows how to sleep all the way through the night. And it feels strange at first, obviously, but your subconscious is listening to everything that you tell it. So those are just a few ways to get started. And when you do this consistently, when you approach this in a way that your subconscious mind can actually receive, your sleep can shift really fast because you're finally sending the right signal to your brain. I went from taking over 4 hours to fall asleep almost every single night to now falling asleep in a couple minutes. I don't even realize it. And then I'm up in the morning. Like, it's actually insane. And I've helped countless people do this through my sleep success program, including people who had been struggling with insomnia for decades, on sleeping pills for 40 years, people who had tried everything, sleep studies, sleep restriction, CBTI, you name it. And these people genuinely believe that they would never be able to sleep normally again. So if you want to understand this deeper, I also have a free masterclass that walks you through the full strategy that I teach my clients. And so the link to watch that is in the description below. If you're not subscribed to my channel yet, make sure you hit that subscribe button and like this video. I post new videos pretty much every week on sleep, anxiety, and retraining your nervous system. I'm so happy to have you here on my channel, and I will see you in the next video.